City volunteers in Myanmar distribute rice to more than 1,400 impoverished families. We'll look at how companies in advanced countries are importing waste to Malaysia. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. In Myanmar, a second wave of COVID cases flourished, causing the government to strengthen its lockdown measures. City volunteers carry out their third aid distribution for more than 1,400 families.
Late August, a second wave of COVID cases flourished in Myanmar. Within 3 weeks, the number of confirmed cases increased rapidly, forcing the government to strengthen the lockdown protocol, causing the increase of unemployment people.
I used to work odd jobs in the city center for a living. After the pandemic, I cannot have to work anymore.
As more and more families are facing a shortage of food, Tzu Chi Myanmar Liaison Office carried out its third aid distribution. Volunteers head to Okan Township, distributing rice and cooking oil to 1,404 families from 29 villages.
These aid supplies can feed a family for a month. For smaller families, they can even sustain for 1.5 months.
I'm very thankful for the rice Tzu Chi provided. The rice bag is almost 50 kilograms. There are 9 people in my family, and this is sufficient to provide us for some time. Although I cannot do much, but I can save a handful of rice on a daily basis.
Miaoli, who is a motorcycle taxi driver, earns around 60 NT a day due to the pandemic. Although the family of 4 is living a difficult life, but they will donate their rice bank every month.
Tzu Chi started from the bamboo coin bank and is able to provide assistance worldwide now. I must learn from this concept and pass it down to future generations so that I'm able to help others who are also in need.
After the aid distribution, Tzu Chi volunteers head to the villages to carry out house visitations. In Longterm village, which is located near the mountains, while elephants often appear, destroying the villagers' crops while causing much difficulty.
Wild elephants often come and destroy our paddy fields. I can't remember how many times they came. Usually 2 to 3 elephants will appear, eating our paddy, causing the harvest to decrease.
After understanding the situation, volunteers noted down their needs. They'll then hold a meeting and draw a plan to assist these villagers in the future.
51-year-old Mr. Shih traveled and worked in Vietnam 10 years ago. Unfortunately, he suffered a stroke recently in Vietnam. The local Taipei Economic and Cultural Office referred this case to Tzu Chi. Therefore, volunteers made visits to care for Mr. Shih.
Volunteers brought fruits and milk powders, visiting Mr. Shih, who suffered a stroke. Mr. Shih is from Taiwan. He came to Vietnam 10 years ago, but recently suffers from illness preventing his return to Taiwan. Now he seeks help from local Tzu Chi volunteers.
He suffered a stroke by himself as he doesn't have a family here. He also doesn't have money. As Tzu Chi people and as a Taiwanese, we came here to Vietnam, providing him a sense of comfort. I thought that we can help as much as we can, so he can return to Taiwan healthily.
Through the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office referral, Tzu Chi volunteers in Vietnam started to care for Mr. Shih, giving him nutritious foods while setting up appointments with a Chinese medicine doctor, as the doctor herself does acupuncture for him 3 times a week.
I think he improved fast, and I hope he can return to his hometown soon because he's still young and has a family. There's nothing here in Vietnam. Having this organization help you is very good.
It's hard to find home outside of hometown, and one may become helpless. But Tzu Chi filled in the hole and assisted with his rehabilitation.
I walk in front of him to provide guard. This is to prevent him from falling. If he falls, he may fall on me. He doesn't fall back, he falls forward, and I can block his fall, so now he may slowly walk.
Volunteers take care of Mr. Shih as a family member. Besides staying with him, words of encouragement are given.
Don't give up, you must cheer up. Do you know that? Don't say because you're sick now, so you refuse to do anything. There are many people out there suffering, right?
Through a 3-month period of caring, now Mr. Shih is recovering at a great pace and is waiting for a notification on traveling back to Taiwan, bringing along the love he received in Vietnam while going back to his hometown.
In Miaoli, Taiwan, there's a couple who battles against illnesses and poverty. Due to poverty and bad living habits, their house has become very messy with lots of cockroaches and rats inside. So the long-term care staff and volunteers have helped the couple clean up their house. Anna, you woke up early. Good morning. This has been steamed. It has been steamed in the morning and is still hot. This is for you. Can you peel it like this?
For decades, his living habits have been like this. Eat it slowly. Don't take such a large bite or you might choke. Are you happy?
Put the recyclables here. This can be recycled. Garbage goes here. This is to be recycled. There are many kinds of recyclables. You must dump the trash or else the place will be dirty and mice will be around. There was a large rat running around. You raised it when you ate food here.
This is a rat raised by Anne. After we ate, my husband has dumped the meal box on the ground. Then the rat has come out from the underneath of the washing machine. After we took out the bed sheets, there is a whole bag of garbage, including unfinished meal box and food residue inside the bed.
There's much cotton and dry hay inside. We think the rats were building up nests inside. Then he became too large that he couldn't escape and turned into a dried rat.
They ate and lived with the rats. They might have watched TV together. I think we should make the partitions more clear. Originally, the place was cramped with items and there was no bedroom. Later, we cleaned up the place and the space became available. Just like when I go home, there is a living room, a worship space, a dining area, kitchen, and a bedroom. Now the space is there.
Back then, they did not have a restroom. They used a bucket instead. After long-term care staff interfere, the first thing we need to solve is to meet their physical needs. So we install restroom and bathroom equipment together.
I called Tzu Chi volunteer, Tzu Chi's sister. I'm so happy that they help remodel at our house. They installed tiles on the ground and repaired the roof. The roof leaked in the past, but it no longer leaks. There is now water heater in the restroom. Tzu Chi's sister, thank you, I love you.
厕所还有热水器。司机耶，姐姐，安子生啊，安啊。
对啊，因为今天看到他的房间，我就很压抑，说还要脱鞋进去，跟以前真的差很多。
When I saw her room today, I was very surprised. We had to take off our shoes, and it was very different from before. Look, today there was no odor, or else in the past we smelled odor in the place. It was terrible as we breathed.
I always go near him and kiss him. I love you. When he is unhappy, I will kiss him. I love you.
第一次看到，你看笑得多开心啊！
As China declared they're no longer taking contaminated foreign waste, companies in advanced countries look to other developing countries to dump the recyclable garbage. In Malaysia, Penang Harbour Terminal is the second largest terminal to import foreign waste. However, our report showed that many of the companies who import the waste do not have a license. Let's investigate the problem.
This is Malaysia, a land which is 30 minutes away from Sungai Petani near the Muda River, which residents in Penang and Kedah get their water supply from. It is very heavily polluted.
This is all abandoned waste. They can't be recycled. 10% has been processed by companies to make new recycled plastic raw material, and the rest 90% is dumped. This place used to be a sand mining field, and they simply dig a hole and filled it up with the waste.
Under the sun, the vibrant colors catch the eye and show the history of how people lived. On this land, the ground crunches as you walk. If you take a closer look, you'll see that it's not dirt or sand, but waste products of all kinds. They have been abandoned here to endure the sun and rain, and this place has become an unofficial landfill. Most of this garbage is not everyday waste. The labels clearly state its once useful purpose. But how does a commercial billboard from Japan end up in Malaysia? What's more surprising is this pile of electronic waste.
If this garbage was processed by SW Corp, a waste management company, every ton will cost over $3,500, but contractors can take care of it by the truck full of only $12 to $24.
Dr. Tzu Chi states the truth on why this garbage is just dumped here instead of processed. The cost, it's no wonder why companies will risk the dangers of abandonment. The line of caution tape drawn around is what the local government is doing to actualize their authority. But in such remote regions, frontline implementation is difficult. To get rid of the waste, incineration is one of the ways. In Sungai Petani, fires occur with no known causes. Thus, more and more local residents are alert and have captured footage for evidence.
Tadi dia ni, saya tengok dia jauh, dia duduk di sebalik api. Saya bersangka dia cuma melakukan pembakaran.
There are still illegal factories like that in Selangor, but it's becoming less and less, so there's improvement. But if you ask about whether it's down to zero, I'll honestly say it's not. However, Sungai Petani over in Kedah is still problematic, and I must admit it's going to be a long battle.
From Selangor to Kedah, the problem isn't really solved, but moved. The residents' health is being affected. Jean and her family have lived in Sungai Petani for near 10 years, and in May of 2019, her youngest daughter began suffering from health problems and had to leave school.
The doctor asked if she's been exposed to burning carcinogens. I said yes, where we live, people burn trash and tires and whatnot. The doctor was quick to say, no wonder your daughter has these symptoms.
On the map, it can be seen that Sungai Petani, the biggest industrial zone in Kedah, is surrounded by secondary raw materials processing plants. The factories, the landfill, and residential zones are all within 10 minutes of each other. These factories often don't operate within the governmental guidelines and will process the secondary materials in a harmful way to the environment. Dr. Tzu Chi, who should be retired by now, is still out there and has formed a volunteer group with a couple of people to safeguard the citizens' right to live in a clean environment.
There are at least hundreds of tons of waste here and cannot be recycled. They just throw it away anywhere and burn it in the night, which stink up the air, or they will toss it by the river.
Local companies import garbage from the rest of the world through false logistic paperwork, and it all comes through the harbor at Penang. This battle to stop foreign waste from being imported has not stopped since 2018.
Malaysia is not a landfill. Penang is not your garbage can. We are people. If you as an advanced country cannot manage your own waste, how can we as a developing country be more equipped to do so?
During customs declaration, this container was classified as HS3915, a code which means it holds recyclable plastic waste. However, upon manual inspection, the items contained within does not match the code description, and there is even contaminated garbage mixed within. When asked, officials replied there must be a human error involved.
When your container comes in and is declared to the custom office, no matter what you declare it as, if it does not match your items, you can be fined over $480. If you purposely falsely declare the items, the fine can be as high as $12,000.
Needing to raise the economy and adhering to environmental concerns are two sides of the same coin for developing countries. But when the land is no longer green, the rivers no longer flow, and the home is just a garbage dump, who will be there to undo all of this?
In Banqiao, New Taipei City, Dongqiuli Recycling Station has been established in 2008. As it is near a traditional market, it has attracted many housewives to do recycling before they go grocery shopping. Although the place is not big, volunteers are happy to come here to give of themselves. Early in the morning at Dongqiuli Recycling Station, volunteers are ready to safeguard the earth.
They will come to Dongqiuli Recycling Station with their grocery carts to do recycling. Then they will go to grocery shopping in the market at 11 o'clock. After that, they will go home to cook lunch and dinner. All the recycling volunteers are working happily. They are very joyful and carefree.
I carry my grocery cart and come here to do recycling. Then I go home and go grocery shopping. When I first came, I could only volunteer for half an hour as my health was poor. Now I can volunteer for several hours as I am getting stronger.
The recycling station is near Xinglong Traditional Market in Banqiao, and every volunteer is a role model.
When I have recyclables, I will bring them to the recycling station. It's more convenient.
Despite the narrow path, volunteers can get through with their tested understanding. The simple-minded elderly volunteers joke that they're with treasure all the time. The volunteers even have to take apart the handles of the paper bags, paying attention to details.
For the earth and for all living beings, we must do recycling. We do recycling almost every day.
Volunteers rely on their experiences to pile up recyclables on recycling truck. Many people may have noticed that the green top on the recycling truck is special. It is printed with the words of a Chinese medicine shop. It turns out that the recycling station is located across the street from a Chinese medicine shop.
Before 2008, we did not recycle at Sister Wu Ping's house. It was cold in front of the door. On rainy days, we did not have space to do recycling. Therefore, my wife said that we own a Chinese medicine shop and there are empty houses across the street.
Fortunately, Tzu Chi honorary board member Liu Xiangchen has lent his shop to Tzu Chi for free. In 2008, Dongqiuli Recycling Station was established. However, an accident happened.
take care of her with a joyful heart. I feel very happy to take good care of her. There's nothing else I ask for. I'm very happy to see that she is not ill or having a cold.
Meanwhile, the original recycling point in front of Wang Ruping's house still exists.
My husband carries the recyclables riding a tricycle. If there are much recyclables, he will make a trip every day. If there is less recyclables, he carries them once every 2 to 3 days.
When people pass by, they will take a look and learn to do recycling. We planted a seed in their minds and they might think about doing recycling when they have time. So it is a very good idea to set up a recycling station where people pass by.
The precious jewelries in this treasure cabinet are these recycling volunteers. Coming from all walks of life, they're determined to protect the environment and safeguard the earth. In Mozambique, due to the pandemic, schools are being shut. However, volunteers send books of Jingsi aphorisms for the locals, bringing them humanitarian education.
The child is not helping with house chores and even shouts at his father. The villagers have put on their acting mask and perform a negative skit. To prevent the scenario in the play from happening in real life, one must have good virtues. Turning Jingsi aphorisms into songs, this is the best way for the people to learn in Mozambique. During the pandemic, schools have all shut down, but learning must not stop. Volunteers sent Jingsi aphorisms for 164 families living in Kura Center.
I believe that this book can help me purify my heart. With this book, we need to seize every moment to practice and learn.
They protect the precious book carefully. The first thing they do when they receive the book is to hide it underneath their clothes.
By keeping it this way, the book does not get dirty. I hope that everyone who received the book can appreciate it. Do not exchange it for other items or even burn it. This book is to educate all of us.
Besides filling up their hearts, they must also fill up their stomachs. Jingsi multigrain powder provides the needed energy, and with the teachings being sung and the food being provided, the local residents were all very satisfied.
In the Philippines, city volunteers have distributed aid supplies to more than 1,400 jeepney drivers. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.